Rolling with women. Now, are we talking identified women, or are we talking about biological women? That's the question.
A whole nother question.
So my take is, I always tell the guys, try to roll as if it was like your girlfriend, your wife, or like your daughter, right? You're not gonna. Obviously, there's gonna be strength disparity with some of them. There's going to be size, weight, all that kind of good stuff. So just be aware of like your weight and how you're like, especially if we're talking like a white belt, you know, woman that's like 6 months in, and you're doing like specific training, nothing too crazy. You don't want to just use your weight on them. You want to try to be as technical as possible, especially if you as a man are a higher belt. Okay, you don't treat them the same as a colored belt just yet. What I would say is like treat them like they're your wife. You're not going to smash them. You're going to kind of like give them resistance in the right areas where you know their leverages, especially as a more experienced person. Put the leverage in the right spot and let them kind of work a little bit. Now, as they get a little better, it's going to get a little more difficult. You're going to have to be very, very technical because as the women start getting into like the white belt, almost transitioning to blue belt, they get really good, like around, depending on the school, like for like us, it's like 3 to 4 stripes, I guess. Would say it would be a good amount of time. That's like a year and a half for most white belts. So they become more technical. So it's going to be harder for you to like kind of just go through the motions with them. So now you have to be super technical with them and still be wary of like not throwing all your weight on them.
Yeah.
You know, because it's the same when you roll with a 300-pound man, and yeah, there's a big weight, you know, difference. So just be aware of that. And as the women become more and more technical, obviously you can throw a little bit more pressure on them. But like I said, if you're rolling with a 115, 20-pound woman, don't be a jerk and just, you know, like stack pass them all the time. Yeah, what I like to try to do when I roll with the women is I try to throw as much technique towards them as I can to like tire them out. Like go this way, go that way, break down the arms, make them frustrated in that sense. That's like what I like to do. And then once they pass, I try to like give them every kind of look I can as far as like scrambling, recovering. But it becomes harder because those women get really, really good, like fast, like, you know, and they're strong. So you can't just like, you know, lollygag with them, I guess. Yeah. Almost like kids, like when you get like little Martian, like little 12, 13-year-olds, but they're really good technically, so you can't like smash them, but they're strong for little kids, so you kind of have to understand the technique and play it, you know, learn to play it right, you know. But maybe we should ask some of the girls too, maybe ask Megan, like what she thinks. Because obviously to me also too, most women are gonna be like the advanced ones, like Megan, suddenly. They're not gonna be like, take it easy on me, I'm a girl. They're gonna wanna feel some pressure and like some legitimacy from your technique. Yeah. That's why they're here. Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, don't smash them and like give them a face, you know, a face gi burn, you know.
Yeah. What's the question?
So the question is, what, like when you roll with the guys, like for example, when you, obviously not me, but like let's just say you're rolling with another white belt, what do you expect from rolling with a guy?
What do I expect?
Yeah.
I think from a lot of the white belts, especially like the new ones.
Well, not necessarily, not white belts, it's women. What do you expect as a woman rolling with a guy, like with your teammates?
Oh, with my teammates?
Like, because the question is like more so directed towards like, do you expect them to take it easy on you because you're a girl, or do you like just like no, roll hard with me, but obviously you don't want little John to smash your face. Stack
Maybe she does. Maybe she
does.
Maybe she wants me to treat her as an equal, right? Because we live in 2022.
Equal pay, equal stacking.
Yeah, she wants the full treatment like anybody else would get.
Yeah, so that's kind of where the question is going. Like, from my perspective, I always say just treat them like you would your wife, or you want to give them a good look, a hard technical look, but obviously you don't want to knee on belly their sternum if you're 80 pounds heavier than them. So like what would you, from you, like what would you say, like rolling with the mirror or somebody that your weight and your technical level, would you want him to take it easier from you, or like?
I think that I would expect them to, like you said, like think of somebody close to them, like a sister, a friend, their significant other. Like how would they roll with them? But some of them are, I mean, not very many of them are my size, and they're not afraid to like use their weight or whatever on me. Sometimes when they're a bit newer, they are kind of stiff and use a lot of strength, but not in like an overly aggressive way or anything like that. So I think that they're all pretty respectful.
Like if you're trying to relay the message to someone who's coming in.
Oh, yeah. Don't be scared of them. Like they're not going to hurt you.
Like the girls. Like
yeah.
How to roll with a woman properly, I guess, is like the main.
If you were to, like maybe if you're rolling with a woman, maybe for the first time, haven't done it before, just do the things you do in class. Like use the grips that you've learned, or use the technique that you've learned. It works on men and women both. So they don't really have to do anything significantly different to accommodate or anything like that.
Like as a woman, do you expect like anything different from like men as far as like if you got somebody who was like rolling with Little John a certain style or a certain way, would you expect them to roll just as hard or less hard with you?
Oh, like somebody like Little John, A1. Who's another big guy? Like those guys, they're obviously a lot bigger than me, like 100 pounds bigger than me. They use their technique, and they're not afraid to sweep me or knock me over or whatever. But then they don't come up knee on belly or anything like that. Like I would just not get back up off the floor if they did that.
Yeah. So basically, like, roll. Don't be afraid to sweep them. Don't be afraid to use
Don't be afraid to submit them or use the technique.
Put some pressure on you.
Yeah.
But just don't like go knee on sternum, tournament style, and like.
I would never be able to come back. I would just have cracked ribs all day. There's a few times when I've gone with some guys and either they weren't sure like how much pressure they were using, but then I think it's pretty obvious when someone like is really smashing you, because then the other person is breathing weird, or like kind of gasping, and then I always feel them like kind of let off a little bit. I've never had to. I don't think I've tapped to a man's pressure because they were trying to be overly aggressive like that.
It's more of advice for guys who never really rolled with girls, or like maybe their first time, or.
Do you think guys dodge girls, like at headquarters or whatever?
No, I don't think they dodge girls. There's not as many. I think we have not the same amount, if not more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of close here, because like their standard girl class is like our 6 p.m. amount, like 15, 20 girls.
I'm just saying, like in general, like because I feel like we definitely have a different culture here at the gym than even when we've gone to other gyms and we've visited. Like the culture just feels nicer here than other gyms. From you being training at Palm Springs, at whatchamacallit, at Lucas's, at all over the place. Do you feel like in general that guys avoid rolling with girls, or is it like a cultural thing, or is it a relationship trust thing, or is it a...
No, I think only it takes time, because like obviously one of the first things I remember is that obviously women's anatomy is a lot different, and you put in awkward positions, and some people might
Like
not be,
playing butterfly.
yeah, or like seatbelt. It's like, you know, they may feel uncomfortable, but most women it's just like, obviously don't be a freaking straight up
Yeah, don't be a
perv,
perv. Yeah.
but it accidentally, like, that's what people are trying to avoid, so that's probably why
Yeah,
they
like
avoid
when
rolling with
Megan
women.
grabbed what's her face's boob last night.
I did. I got, who was that?
Kat.
Oh, it was Kat, yeah. I got a handful of Kat last night.
And that's done accidentally. It's not.
Yeah.
You're just looking for the position. So I think that's why initially most men will avoid rolling with women. But until you get comfortable with like,
Avoid rolling with women out of fear of making the women feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
and not wanting to put them
Yeah.
in uncomfortable
There's
positions.
a pretty big difference, though, between like accidents like that. Like, I obviously wasn't intending to grab Kat's chest.
For sure, but you
I was going for a jacket, you know?
I
but-
think it's fair to say that you and Kat have like a good, like, you know, teammate relationship.
Sure, we have
Yeah.
a rapport. She wasn't offended. or
As
anything,
opposed
yeah.
to like if someone is rolling with a woman for the first time and maybe doesn't have as good of a rapport, that may have made
Yeah.
Kat feel uncomfortable.
right, and or like a even if it's a new guy like a mirror like that's your size that may feel comfortable. Like I'm pretty sure, you know, Angel might have a different perspective of, you know,
Yeah.
but still it's like, you know, some guys might avoid it for that reason, but it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Like, but then too, there's some of the women too that are actually like super aggressive, like the competition type girls that compete all the time. They're really like feisty, and Haley type, and don't care about like getting their face smashed, or will try to smash your face, like, because they want to get better and they want to feel like they're just trying to push themselves.
Yeah.
But I would just recommend men that roll with women, push them, but in the right way, technically, first. You know, it's like I tell everybody else, your strength is great, your wrestling is great, but first use the technique and then everything else behind it, and it'll just make you that more efficient and precise with what you're doing.